Hey, welcome back. Thanks for all those that have stayed with the program here. We're on part 3 now. As you can see, I've taken the metal out of the solution of vinegar. Basically, see how easy that it just scrapes the rust completely off. It doesn't show very good justice on this, but that metal is actually just as smooth as it was probably the day that it was made. So we're going to get over to the part 2 annealing it in the forge, so stick around. Okay, we're out here in the forge now. This is one of my forges that I've made. It's nothing more than a lawnmower frame flipped upside down. There's a link on my website or my YouTube channel. You can check it out and see how to make one if you don't have one. I'm only using a royal oak charcoal. It's just a wood charcoal. I did not need actual coal for this here. The metal is so thin. Once you kick the airflow going through to it, as it starts heating up, I can control how much hotter I want it by using a valve that I have on the bottom down there. So you just watch for the metal and you'll see the color that it's got here in just a second, and then we'll go ahead and be done with that part of it. Using a magnet will let you know that if it is at its softened state, so keep that in mind. Notice as I pull this out, there's actually a magnet that is sitting there on my anvil. It's what I'm testing, and the magnet is not sticking to it, so I know it's good to go. Once you have the magnet to where it does not stick to it, let it cool just completely down to where it's cold to the touch. Don't rush it, don't quench it with oil at this state. You want to keep the metal as soft as possible. Next thing that I'm actually going to be doing on this right here is taking and grinding it into shape with just a regular bench grinder. Nothing fancy, so stick around. Okay, now that the metal has been softened up real easy, notice how easy it is really to grind. Although I do have this going in a fast forward motion at this point, it's just because it took me about 3.5 minutes to actually grind this thing into the shape that I want. I didn't really want to drag you into a full 3.5 minutes. You'll know that it's annealed well because the metal becomes soft. Not quite like an aluminum, but it would be a good soft metal to where it works very easy. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on it. Don't worry with it, sweating it. Keep it kind of cool. Just keep going with it. One thing that I want to note is just see how easy that it does on that. Just to save on my wheel, I'm actually going to cut that mark right there out with my die grinder. It's very easy, but I just don't want to waste the time on the wheel. Once you have the actual shape or the basic design that you want as a rough estimate, we can go ahead and get ready to drill the hole in for the antler. Make sure when you're holding that antler that you get it fit to where you want it, which way it's angled at right, and then go ahead and make your center drill mark. On this particular piece here, I'm using a Dremel to go ahead and get the distance and the width that I need. Just drill it out. It's not that hard to do. If you don't have a Dremel, you can actually do it with a file. You can do it with a drill bit. You can actually even just heat up the actual shaft on it for the tang hot, and it'll just melt right down into it. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this. Notice how the shaft or the tang is up and down a little bit more. Just keep checking it as you go in, because you don't have to make it too loose or too thin. So just keep checking it and check out the old powder every once in a while too. Once you have it to where it's a snug fit like that, you're ready to go ahead and get ready to make a knife guard. We're going to make this one out of brass. I'm real bad about making sure that I never throw away anything. This here is actually a old threshold made out of brass. That's scrap. That's what I'm using on this right here. Just basically making a mark about the width that I would need on it. Then I'm going to take here in just a second, take my die grinder and just cut it off, and that'll give me my width and stuff to start making my knife guard for it. In order to get the hole in there for my tang to go through, I started out with a cutting wheel, then I switched over to a actual drill bit and my Dremel until I could get that tang to fit down inside of it snug. Alright, here it is. Let's take it over here to the actual sander and let's go ahead and start shaping it. It's very easy to shape this. It is a brass. It's not very hard at all. Just kind of keep it turned, twist, put whatever shape that you want into it, however it feels good to you. Once you actually get the shape that you like, don't worry about the inside flat pieces because you can polish those up in a second. But that's what I went with on this particular one here. I did 3 of these. They're all 3 different, but that's the one I went with, this one. Alright, here we go. We're finished up now with actually putting the knife guard on it. We've gotten the actual stag handle put inside of it. We've got the metal annealed down. So we're fixing to get ready to do the hardening process on the next video coming up. Show you how I put the edge on the knife in itself, and then the tempering process. I'm actually going to be bluing these metal on the steel, but I'll show you how I prep that too as well. And then we should be finishing this series up. So I appreciate you sticking with me this far, and let's go to part 4.